because if this game gets anywhere near late game 4, where
Oh, they're
the
screwed.
hell is the damage for Kabum? Yeah, what is, like, Wukong? Okay, Swain a bit. You have a Karma top that's going Ghost Teleport. What the hell's going on? I'm flabbergasted.
Oh, my gasters are completely flabbed. This is absolutely wild. Natuno, 1-for-1 on this Jhin. You see the stats there. No, but like you said, going double Comet, Airy with Ghost TP up top. Yeah, it's exactly like you said. Los Grandes, I mean, this is a risk. I don't want to say they lost draft Kabum because look, every draft is about execution at the end of the day. Like you said,
Right.
meta and comfort, draft and execution, right? Those are the two big dichotomies that are always at war against each other. And look, it's not like there aren't win conditions on the side of Kabum. I look at that bot lane immediately. Obviously, double Comet, double poke, really oppressive. But as you said in draft, the Jhin Heimerdinger on the other side, that's the reason these lanes have come up, is because things like a Jhin Heimerdinger can be so oppressive in lanes. So this is high risk, high reward for Kabum.
Yeah, I don't mean to come off sounding like a Kabum hater here, but I think
That's
Los have hit this out
reasonable.
of the park. I think they've
Yeah.
hit it out of the park because even you talk about Varus Misfortune, it's like, yeah, okay, really oppressive poke. They were going to do a lot of damage from distance, but what did Los do? They just drafted two champions in the bottom lane that can stay as far back, if not further, than a Varus Misfortune to avoid a lot of that poke. And if you try to step up, Zay's going to punish you with the turrets. So Los are in such a good position, and the only way Kabum can win this, they've got to throw everything at the wall early, or this thing will get ugly once the game hits even 20 minutes. And even Yuri, Unsealed Spellbook on Swain, that's even less damage. I mean, certainly can be helpful later on for how many spells he can pull out to between those, teleport, ignite, heal, can play around with those, but that caps your damage later as well. So, man, oh man. Scary's going to have to be a really big damage-oriented Wukong if Kabum want any chance later on the game.
Now we got action immediately here in the bot lane. Does have to cleanse, and he gets nothing out of it. Summoner's blown, and it is the meta bottom lane that comes out on top. Just a straight-up 2v2 kill.
I mean, that's the power of this Heimerdinger to set up Jhin. Those deadly flourishes from distance can grab anyone. And sure, Varus, Misfortune, they have a bunch of poke, but if you can't dictate the tempo of that lane early and you get engaged on, this lane becomes completely useless for Kabum, and that's almost disaster number one priority for this composition.
I think you nailed it. I was trying to, we're trying to be diplomatic here, but if you want to talk about a worst case scenario, this is kind of it.
100%. I mean, that's the lane that you are prioritizing to get ahead early, to get this Varus online so that he can start chunking out the entirety of Los before a lot of their front line comes across. And you think, okay, well, they're going to have jungle priority. It's too early for Scary to come down bot lane. He needs to clear out at least some of his camps here. We're going to get a replay look here. And yeah, it's just a beautiful, it looks like a stun grenade came across right into Deadly Flourish. And Duds the boy not feeling too hot on that one.
No, there's nothing he could do. It's so rough. They hit level 2 early. As a Leona player myself, I understand the value of hitting level 2 first, because then I can just EQ across you and just stun up your AD carry. But these are the kinds of margins that in today's meta the bot lane is dictated on. It is take no prisoners down there.
Exactly, and you could already see. I know when Heimer really came into fruition, I believe the first couple pro levels that came online were like the LEC, the LCKs, and Heimer just became such a nuisance, not only because of how he can play in lane, but I'm very interested to see Zay showed a bit of that. The roaming ability of Heimer and just to be a nuisance to not only Duds the boy here and Cirque, but to Scary to play up here and be like, oh, you don't get a Hermit Crab for free. I'm going to put a turret down here. I'm going to be just a complete nuisance. So I can't wait to watch Zay, who definitely has some experience on this Heimer in this meta, just roam around, allow Natuno to just farm up because they don't have to play aggressively mid lane, though.
Whoa. Yeah, speaking of aggressively, Lava, man, if he had a little more mana. But Yuri trading fire very, very nicely. Again, whoa, both these guys, Korean products. But Lava obviously coming from a Fretted Breon roster that had a really good run in spring in the LCK last year. And
sniper.
And that's just what he does. Read that beautifully, caught Yuri sleeping, absolutely punished.
Wow, and if disaster number 1 was first blood in bot lane, disaster number 2 might as well honestly be solo kill given up in mid lane, because topside Lonely is just playing towards name and just trying to farm up and play for later on in the game. But That's 2 huge kills for Los, and their comp is going to certainly love it as well. As I don't even know what Scary can try and get done here because Ranger's also doing such a good job hovering that bot side.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Is you want to talk about things that'll warp your play style and your game. All this attention being paid to the bottom lane, but junglers in general, you kind of exclusively path top to bot, right? Everyone and their mother knows where the action happens, where that level 3 gank is going to come in. And like you said, Ranger, he's kind of been. It seems like he's been first to everything. And Scary, look, he's doing fine, all things considered. It's not his fault, but he's gone from junglers have to put fires out if their lanes start going behind, and that is kind of where they are at. Duds, to his credit, look, stayed even in CS. Lonely up top, pretty much even in CS, and Scary's only down half a camp. Lonely trying to get some stuff done here. Now, actually, you're returning fire decently, gets the yank in. Ooh, but again, Slayer, you call up.
Oh, that was.
I was going to call out that, maybe with an ignite, he could have finished that off, but here comes Lonely out of nowhere and is able to get himself a kill.
All right, Lava. I understand that everybody's on the Los Grandes train right now because of this draft, but that was just a little way too disrespectful. You can't jump forward, use that one dash Jace has, and expect not to see Yuri trade out. Really good recognition, had all his spells up, was able to pull the Jace even further back. Lava's just got to play a little more careful there. You don't need to be aggressive in this game. I know as a Jace early game, you think, oh, I need to be proactive, but this game is certainly set for Los Grandes to just scale up and be a big winner, and Lava might have just given a silver lining over to Kabum.
Yeah, he might have, right? I mean, but it's like, okay, this gold went to your Karma, great. And, she's running teleport, and Harriet is kind of, again, playing for that late game as well. But it's still just, this is a narrow window of execution for Kabum, and they've kept themselves in this game, which is about all you can ask. But that kind of tells you the story right there. This is total gold on the left side. It's Lonely and Yuri. They're the two kind of keeping this team afloat right now. Duds and Skuro are surviving. That is kind of all they can do. They're on relatively even items and got that serrated Dirk. Did Duds the boy, and that's going to feel nice because then you burn 400 gold, again, grabbing that tier and scaling up into later parts of the game. But you see, Yuri, he's playing general right now, right? He's playing quarterback. Got the vision down there on the Tri-Brush. Ranger has hit level 6, and man, is he ever using it. Skuro will be the one to pay the price. Such is the life of a support. Duds doing what he can, but a kill goes over to Ranger.
Nature's Grass, just such amazing ultimate, especially when utilized correctly from distance there. It's such a slow and painful demise. Curtain call.
Oh, man. It was a deadly flourish. He's got 2 more, and Duds. Oh, got the flash. Okay, held the flash for the 4th shot. Fair enough. But that could have been really, really ugly. This is the dominance that the bot lane is displaying right now for Los Grandes.
And yeah, sure, it's not a kill given over to Natuno there, but they get the flash off of Duds the boy again, and they're going to be able to collect a lot of plates. But here's the Kabum macro play that's really put them on this 4-game win streak. Great response here. They see the pressure towards bot lane. All right, we're going to take what we can get top lane. They get the first Rift Herald.
Fantastic. You hit the nail right on the head. This is all you can hope for Kabum at this point. You stem the bleeding. Don't take anything lying down. Recognize your numbers disadvantages, and you see the attention that was paid. Bot side, great. Look, Scary has stayed even, right? He's got himself a Sheen, and with Yuri and Lonely and the type of mids that they're playing and the type of summoner spells that they're running, right? They're not there to win lane or their responsibility isn't to get the advantage. It's to facilitate the rest of the game. That's exactly what they're doing in the early game, stalling it out and getting it to a point where, well, you would have hoped Duds would have been a little better position to carry, but. Not too bad, all things considered, and somehow they seem to be walking away with this dragon as well. While I was talking, my eyes glazed over. I missed how this happened.
Yeah, so it was a really good scout by Yuri on the Swain W to spot the Drake wasn't there, and Ranger was a little too worried. You can see not any vision at all up towards the red side here, and they hadn't been able to take a reset off that bot play yet, so they knew that Skuro was back up and Duds the boy had taken a reset as well. They didn't want to try and justify playing for that Drake. It's a conservative play nonetheless in the lead, but they just know that they can't give any sort of avenue for Kabum back in this game because I would assume they know how comfortable they could be later in team fights.
Yeah, no, and I think you hit the nail right on the head, right? They're not really scared of losing kind of little advantages here and there. That Herald still hasn't been dropped, right? So that's something that is hanging over, the game plan here for Los Grandes. But they know, and with good reason, that as this fight gets into the later phases of the game, even this Jhin, which is a pick that is criticized a lot, and I think rightly so, for kind of, similar things, is look, into certain compositions, he's not a tank shredder, right? And that's part of what you need your AD carry to be. But into the composition that Kabum is running, Jin's all right.
Oh, he's more than all right for. He is going to be absolutely breaking down everybody on Kabum, just like these Nature's Grasp.
Oh my goodness, the CC layering and the Make It Rain does absolutely, or the Bullet Time rather, does absolutely nothing, and the Ignite will not be enough. But Ranger making his presence felt from everywhere on the map. Oh, but now maybe Kabum have a response in store here? No, just making sure nothing else pops off.
I love how casual that was. I don't know if you caught it before, but Ranger literally ulted from that bot side brush and then just immediately started recalling. He's like, all right, guys, here's the ult. I'm going to get back to base and reset. And what does it cause? Oh, another, 3 summoners burn on the side of Kabum's bot lane. That's just Maokai Gaming in 2023.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mentioned this last week that, like, Maokai, when he reared his majestic wooden head at Worlds last year and became, at one point, like a 4-lane flex, one of the buffs that they gave him was the speed at which his ultimate moves. It like ramps up. It used to be just kind of slow, and you could, you would get caught by it because it's so wide and has such a long range, but you could create enough distance to where the follow-up was hard. But they made it so it speeds up over time. So it shows up on you, and you've got to react immediately. You've got to make a choice. And you saw what Ranger was able to do with that. Like you said, just very casually. He's like, look, we all know why I'm here. I am here to throw the ultimate out. You guys have CC and damage you can layer on top of it. You guys will be fine. I'll be back in a second. Here's some saltines and a Gatorade.
Exactly, and it's working to near perfection so far, and it's only a 2-kill lead here for Los Grandes so far. Is Zay's is stepping forward.
He's in trouble here, and just straight up goes down, and that's what can't happen, right? We criticized Lava for it earlier, and now that gives Kabum opening to get the Herald smashed into this mid-tier 1. Not exactly kind of the late tower placement that you might want, but gets a lot of turret play gold back into their hands. They had to make a play before 14 minutes with that Herald and smush the gold lead down. That's exactly what they did. They're within 1,000. They're back in this.
Yeah, I was about to make a. I think I have evolved caster cursing. I actually caster cursed before I said it. It was my thought telepathically because I was going to talk about how Los Grandes have done a really good job utilizing turret plating, gold plating to get their lead up, even though having a 2-kill advantage. And what happens? Oh, Kabum gets a pick and immediately takes 3 turret plates in the middle lane.
But it's kind of like you were saying, like it's the macro that has helped Kabum play, in my opinion, above the sum of their parts. Los Grandes have a way, this is no disrespect to Kabum and the players on there. Los Grandes have a way more talented roster. And I don't that's not even like an insane statement when you bring in Hirit and Lava, 2 guys that were playing in major regions a very, very short time ago in your solo lanes, right? In the positions where experience and skill can shine. Here comes another Nature's Grasp, more CC layering on top of it. We've seen this movie before, and another kill given over. One more shot, duds, jump the flash a little bit, but is able to withstand the curtain call. This is a set play that they're just running over and over again.
And Ranger, he's a little less lazy this time for. He's like, all right, I'll ult and then I'll take turret aggro for 2 shots. All right, guys, so then that will get us a kill, right? Fine. This time I'll let a health go, but they're looking for more here. Scary's own jungle is under fruition.
It looks like he'll be okay. He knows he's got Yuri there to potentially bail him out, and he's on a mythic item himself, so he's feeling, you know what? I could take potentially a 1v1. He's got that Divine Sunderer in. Everybody kind of on their first big item spike. I really hope that Hirit is sitting on a lot of gold there, because that inventory that he's got going is not too slick. There's that turret play gold we were talking about, and again, let's not sugarcoat it here. Los Grandes still very much ahead. Just picking up kills in the bottom lane, especially. That is Old Faithful right now. What they can do as far as picking up little bits of gold. But Kabum with their macro play, and I think Yuri has been the center of that. This guy played Twisted Fate before it has really come back into the meta. He said, "Oh, Rod of Ages, right? Like you were talking about in draft. That item right now can make a lot of champions go burr." And Twisted Fate is one of them. And he was just playing. I mean, gosh, it was like an eye in the sky. It was beautiful. And on Swain, you could do similar sorts of things to that. Yuri has established his role on this team as just sort of the puppet master, the guardian.
And shout out to Scary as well here. I mean, he has literally 0 kill participation. He's kind of been playing second fiddle to a lot of plays. But any day of the week, I will take my second Drake stack for second Rift Herald. So They just spotted out their Ranger went on the reset after the bot play, path topside, assuming Lean was assuming, right? So he knew that that Drake was basically for free. And now there's a little bit lighter than the tunnel for Kabum here because we have an Infernal Soul. And, well, we're talking about a comp. Oh, but hear it.
Ooh. Yeah, trying to survive this this tower dive here. I might have gone back under the turret if I was Herit. He held on to the flash. Really smart play there from Herit. Was able to get it out of Scary as well. He knew that's what it was going to take to kill him, but held on to it.
And look topside. I mean, just a beautiful rotate from Los Grandes. They knocked down the first turret, so it's even more extra gold. But the point that I want to make here is that it's an Infernal Soul, right, Force? So we're talking about a comp for Kabum that doesn't have a lot of damage scaling into the later game. Well, what's an easy way to help that out? Oh, just an Infernal Soul that helps your burst damage.
Yeah, no, that'll certainly help things out. And I think the only disadvantage is you can only get 2 of them. But if you do get 2 of them, hey, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. That's an Infernal Soul. That will certainly help them out. And yeah, I think what you said about Scary, about, look, any day of the week, you're going to take that second Drake for a second Herald, especially if you're in the position that Kabum is in right now, right? They're kind of grasping at straws because the bottom lane has gone the exact opposite of how we want to. I know we're kind of beating that dead horse, but when you draft yourself as narrow a win con as Kabum, that is the horse to beat.
Exactly, and the problem that is just going to keep getting worse here is now that Does the Boy is opted for full lethality. You can see, the Yomus in the Comet. Once, Herit gets some tanky items, obviously going Triforce first Mythic, hit that Mega Gnar will be very tanky, hard to shred with the lethality. Ranger is going to be near unkillable with some of that lethality build path once he gets a lot more full tanky items. Does the Boy is going to have a hard time getting piercing arrows to the back line, and he doesn't do a lot of damage front line wise, but Lava certainly does.
Los Grandes, for a team that has a scaling advantage, they're not afraid to throw out their ultimates and play on the front foot when they need to. Lonely trying to get a tether off. The trap from Jhin, not going to find its mark, but now he's able to speed everybody up here. Maybe get within range. Another tether goes out, has to burn Ranger's flash there. Very nicely done. Not a ton of damage onto Zay, but able to dissuade what could have been an engage there from Los Grandes. But hear it, making things happen all over the map, man.
They're just playing a beautiful split. They're just splitting up so well. Here it might greed a little too much here. It's finally decided to back off, but they are sending the cavalry after this Gnar, and Mega is about to drop off.
Lava, will his TP come back up in time? It is just Ranger that's looking like he's giving chase. Yuri throwing out the vision of Empire. Yeah, hear it without the Mega Gnar. Ooh, the mini does a decent amount of damage there. He's an alcove gamer. There goes the tether from Lonely. Like you said, Slayer just greeted a little bit too much, and he gets punished for it, sure enough. But what do you know? There's that second Herald.
It's just beautiful. They're just rubber banding, right? We're all right. We're gonna come 5 mid, or we'll make sure here it can do a bunch of damage topside. You're gonna send 4 after him. We're gonna make sure Shelly takes down a mid tier 1 and nearly knocks down the tier 2 on her own. It's flashy. It's fun to get a bunch of kills in a game of League of Legends to get your leads, but the true teams at the top of these leagues are the ones that can get these macro decisions, and they don't need kills to get themselves to a 3K gold lead.
Mm-hmm. And that's you set me up beautifully for what I wanted to talk about next. Is like this is one of the better games that I have seen, just kind of macro and kind of just execution wise from 2 teams in the CBLOL. Like you said, top of the table. You don't get there by accident. Like 6 games into the split, this is about where the small sample size excuse starts to go out the window, and things like strength of schedule so far start to matter a little bit less, because especially for Los Grandes, they could, off star power alone, they could be where they are, maybe 1 game down. But with both these teams, I'm glad that the mistakes are just off like, oh, we didn't, we got 2v2 killed bot lane, and not like we're just mentally booming and making stupid decisions in the mid game.
Exactly, and now they'll be able to just really dictate their tempo a lot more, Los Grandes, because they've opened up sheer amount of way more of the map. As Lava, this Jace can do a bunch of damage in those team fights to a front line not really having a tank, but also you send him to the side lanes and he will just extinguish any turret that he comes near. So you can see Los Grandes, they certainly have the comp that is a lot more team fight. We think it would be a better team fight comp because of what we've seen from Kabum, but we're seeing Los Grandes show that they really wanted to play this kind of split game, and it's working to perfection so far.
Yeah, even though the objective control hasn't quite been there from Los Grandes, they've gotten 1 of the first 4 neutral objectives. Here we might get a fight for another one. One thing that Kabum's comp can do is poke a decent amount, but Lava and Zay on the Jace and the Heimerdinger can deal out a ton of damage in their own right. Pirate and Lava looking for flanks, these powerful solo laners. Pirate with that game-changing ultimate, of course. Here comes the damage graphic, and that means we're getting ready for a fight. There goes the Chains of Corruption, and they take down Ranger. He is not a true tank just yet. Now they got a 5v4 and first purchase on this Dragon. They might be up to no good here with looking for that 3-dragon lead. Lonely, way up front. That Karma with the Radiant Virtue has no business surviving as long as she does. Now just taking away all of the AD Carry's attention as they wrap up that third Drake. Here looking for a way to the fight. He can't find it. Los Grandes look a little bit discombobulated, but now they get what they want. Lava in Yuri trying to buy his team some time with a stopwatch. Skuro from behind the wall can't do much. Shutdown for Scary. That is huge onto Lava. Lonely has survived this fight. If he can get a tether down, maybe Scary can clean up. Here it doesn't have Mega Gnar. He's trying to build up that bar. Not going to be able to get off the bullet time is Skuro. The fight is scattered. It's a 3-for-2, so far. Here it finally gets the Mega Gnar, and what timing it was. Scary just trying to bail out Lonely, get everything he can. Scary, Zay, he's going to lose this one, but Scary not going to give chase. What a fight.
Oh my God, I'll give you some time to rest because that felt like 30 seconds at least, but that was pure chaos. I don't. Los Grandes at first you can see they kind of are splitting their decision. Lava's trying to come down for the flank, and they tell him, "All right, Lava, go shove mid lane, take that mid tier 2." But as he leaves, Lonely hits the go button. They shut down Ranger, who, like you mentioned, is still trying to get some of those AP items, and it's just a bit, it's a toss up now. It's like half of Kabum are like, "Let's get on to Soul Point here, let's secure it." Lonely's doing his best job stalling out, pushing away that Los Grandes bot lane. And here it shows up. He was farming the bot wave to try and get Mega, but by the time he shows up, Mega is useless. Lava finally comes down, does a huge amount of damage to Duds. A really good Zhonya's from Yuri to get some extra health on that Swain, be that tank, and he does enough stalling here for Scary to finally come online, jumps forward, gets on top of the Jhin, but none of that matters now because they're starting to jockey over Baron.
And a couple more items have come in. Zhonya's was there, but now maybe he'll have it up, will Yuri, by the time this next fight rolls around. The Rylai's complete there. Duds, he's got his boots completed as well, but the Hullbreaker has come in for Hear It. And going back to a point that you were talking about, Los Grandes, part of what's making this composition so scary is between Hear It and Lava, they've got two players that can dominate side lanes should they try to play that way. Oh, Scary a little too far forward. Good job by Skuro. The engage, but he just gets absolutely demolished. Yuri going into drain take mode. Here comes Hear It. Oh, baby, looking for a huge ultimate. He's got the flash. If he can get the flash Gnar in, this might be trouble for Kabum. They do manage to get one back. Scary, very grateful for those kills. It made him just a little bit stronger. Hear It, looking for the ultimate. He goes in. Good cyclone there by Scary, but the ultimate still goes off. Separated from the fight. The monkey goes down. Zay and Natuno raining damage for free from the backline. Hear It is huge, taking up so much attention in this fight, trying to return the fire. Are Duds the boy and Lonely and Yuri, but at this point it feels like a war of attrition that Los Grandes are going to win.
The interesting thing about this Kabum comp is if fights do go extended, Lonely is the X factor because the shielding, the healing that can come over top from this Karma can become insurmountable at points. But what a stun grenade there from Zay to bail out Natuno there. You flash forward Cyclone from this Wukong, but it was Zay to stun up the monkey and shut him down. Originally, we talked about how they want to play split fights. Well, Lava has to teleport in. Nature's Grasp does a good amount of damage. Natuno shuts down Skuro, but here comes that extended fight. Yuri's doing a bunch, taking up a bunch of damage. They cut Ranger off from the rest of his team. Karma will do a bunch of overtop shielding, a bunch of healing as well. Beautiful first knockup, so Harit can't get too good of an ultimate off, but Scary, you saw, get stunned up and shut down, so he can't get on the back line. And without Scary, where's the damage? Kabum have to run for the hills.
Yeah, and that's your entire front line, right? And Scary as just a pure tank is not going to be a menacing enough presence with the way that the game has gone for Duds right now. And Lonely just playing pure utility right now. Radiant Virtue into the Frozen Heart, which, look, into a Gnar and a Jace and a Jhin, sure, right? That's kind of what you got to do. And in these kind of bunched up fights, right, Lonely's going to have to get up close and personal to help out. Like you said, all that over the top shielding Slayer, that's going on Yuri and Scary because they don't have true tanks. That extra tankiness is coming from just what Lonely can rain down. And to do that, he's going to have to survive a long time. Game in a 5,000 gold spread right now. 4,500 if we're being technical. 3 tower lead for Los Grandes, 2 kill lead. They are down 3 dragons. So in about 30 seconds, we'll see who gets first purchase onto this dragon. On the one hand, Slayer, Kabum, they need this Infernal Soul to give them a leg up in these fights. But on the other hand, they can afford to give it up if they don't feel that the time is perfect.
And it'll be interesting to see here how Kabum have the opportunity to try and maybe go for a Baron flip here, because the Los Grandes are going to want to try and take down this Infernal as it spawns to stop the stack, stop Soul Secure. So can Kabum try and get onto Baron for the trade? They can't even get into mid lane though right now.
Man, and Duds has to burn his flash. That feels so bad. That ultimate's going to be up in no time flat for Natuno, and it's not like they even need it. But just it's offense on a couple of fronts here, and most crucially in that mid and bot lane. Because again, that dragon is the main objective, right? And Yuri, geez, Skuro just taken immediately out of the fight. Yuri trying to do what he can. He's got himself out of that item, and Granger just gets it immediately on spawn there. So now the map becomes even more telegraphed.
And you can see now Los Grandes are kind of done messing around. They're using their range so well that to slowly take up territory. I mean, even just look at the bot side jungle here. Look at how much blue vision is out. I mean, it's going to be cleared out here, but they set that all up to make sure that that Drake wasn't even going to be spotted. The range did so much, but Zay...
Yeah, Zay now just kind of caught with his pants down. That's the second time he's gotten caught on this Heimerdinger, and he's been doing so much in these fights. If he cuts down on this is going to be a pretty flawless game for Los Grandes.
Exactly, right? And I want to go back to that karma point, because this build path is purely like, I'm going to be tanky and I'm going to help out my team. But the problem is, before that kill for Scary, this karma had half of Kabum's kills.
Yeah.
So you have half your kills going on to a pure support tank karma with no flash. That doesn't play out well at 26, 27 minutes with the comp they've drafted.
No, and oh my gosh, look at the total damage there on your left. Lava, 16k. Natuno next best with 10. And kind of just to weird, I don't know if this highlights your point or undermines your point, but it definitely shows how weird this game has been. The most damage dealt in this game has been Lonely for the side of Kabum.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And I can see how it could undermine it, but he has 7 of the 9 KP, so he's being involved. And he also
he's just everywhere.
He's just everywhere doing a bunch of poke damage. Those Mantra Qs can do a lot of damage, but I don't know how much these Mantra Qs are going to be able to do, because now Los Grandes, they saw how well they executed making sure to stop Soul Secure. Now they're starting to build up vision around Baron Nashor, and all the time while they're doing this, here it has that teleport, can teleport into any sort of fight, but they might not even need him.
Man, Natuno, he's just nasty with these deadly flourishes, with the CC that he's able to set up. Him and Ranger and Zay can just throw it on it down. It's so much team fight setup in a composition that doesn't even really need it, given how they've drafted. Ranger going to take down the opposing jungle. That's going to make this Baron a whole lot easier. And here it, just paying absolutely no mind, just absolutely wreaking havoc on the base of Kabum. And Yuri's just like, dude, what do you want me to do? Like, someone's got to stop this thing.
That's the power of Hullbreaker. Yuri doesn't even want to mess with Gnar right now. They finally get Lonely to come across, but one double hop and here it is to safety here. They're just playing that rubber band to perfection, and Lonely is getting a bit agitated.
Yeah, he's getting a bit antsy. This is just like, it's not actually tilt. We don't know that, but this feels like tilt, right? Just like throwing out spells like nobody's business. He's got himself a Mikhail's now, and even a little more crucially, the Black Cleaver has come in here for Scary. Now, Black Cleaver, I don't think, I forget, been getting these patches mixed up lately, so I apologize, viewers at home. I don't know if it was 13.1b, I think it was, which is what we're on, and not 13.3, where Black Cleaver got those buffs. It's a pretty gold-efficient item right now, but it does feel a little bad when you've got Misfortune, Karma, and Swain as your, as 3 of your 4 damage sources. Now, again, Duds is still the titular carry. And, look, he's got himself a mythic item. The Moramana is complete, so he's not completely toast. But yeah, this has been an interesting game for Kabum and the decisions that they've had to make.
And what is interesting that does kind of sort of help out Duds' build path is Ranger is going really AP centric with this Maokai.
Yeah.
So he's actually pretty squishy. I mean, I was not expecting a Liamdres, a demonic, and I'm assuming that's going to be a Morello potentially over top as well. So that's full AP with Sork Boots. Yeah, this Maokai is full damage, which does mean that those piercing arrows will chunk the tree, but if he could get into the team fights, if he can frontline in front of Duds, the boy, I mean, he has force of nature, he has a Hullbreaker, he has a lot more tankiness, but Why do we need the Gnar when we could just send him to a bot side to take inhibitors?
Yeah, and that's certainly what he's just been trying to, well, break the hull of this Kabum base. Finally, there goes your inhibitor. So 5 minutes of a little extra push on the bot side, but on the other side of the map, 2 members of Kabum now sent to deal with Hirit on the bot side, and they're actually going to knock him down. But here comes a teleport now from Yuri, but blue team, Los Grandes going to secure the Baron. Kill coming over for Natuno, Ranger, trying to do his best. But again, like you said, Slayer, he has not gone a tank build. He is just going straight damage, and he gets blown. He gets demolished, but Yuri trying to buy his team some time here. And finally, the rest of Kabum wiped off the map. This is what they're able to do, man. The lead is now 10,000 gold.
There are a few things more satisfying in League of Legends than a flash crit shot kill on Jhin and Natuno style points there for the final kill onto Yuri. But it's amazing. I love when I am surprised by a way a comp is played, because when we went into draft, we expected Los Grandes with what the comp they saw on the other side with this Maokai, Jace over top, Gnar. Obviously the Mega Gnar can be such team fight oriented. Even Zay with those upgraded turrets just plays so well into team fights. We thought, all right, Los Grandes are going to hit 20 minutes, and if they're not severely behind, they're going to play for big 5v5 team fights, and they told me to shut that up very quickly. They're playing the rubber band comp nearly flawlessly, and we're going to get a look at this Baron play, but keep in mind, while this Baron is going down, they finally get Hirit. That's the kill onto Hirit, but the Baron is down to about 4,000, so they're just way too late to this play. Scary goes for the Hail Mary, but the Nature's Grass is perfectly timed, so he doesn't even get into range. And yeah, sure, Ranger is too low. He will end up dropping. But Yuri and Lonely's Karma, that's just not enough damage to try and compete with a Fed Jace, Zay's full damage Heimerdinger, and Fed Jhin from Natuno. And Los Grandes, they sputtered at points, but they are very much in the control of this game now.
And what's adding to their control of this game is the fact that, like that Baron, of course, and you saw what they could do when they are first ever objective. Because like you said, the rubber banding that they're doing, it increases your room for error so much. You just have so much more liberty, and they are exercising that just with complete disregard for Kabum right now. Yes, they paid the price of Hirit on the other side of the map, but they clearly don't need him. But he presents such a threat. The gravitational pull of Hirit drew 2 members over there, and they can just play 4v3, and it's so easy. And now they're looking for maybe not a game ender, depending on how this fight goes, but the siege that they're able to put down is just immense, right? They could go 4-1 because that inhibitor's down in that bottom lane. So they're exerting 3 points of pressure while only putting players in 2.
And the one disadvantage, the one caveat, it's unfortunately here it dropped, because if he had Baron and he could, pull towards bot side and get those Baron empowered supers pushing in, Los Grandes would have already knocked down this top tier one. But because he doesn't have Baron, it is simple to clear out the waves crashing mid. So it is going to take some time, but they're working their way down. They want that top inhib.
Man, and Ranger, I mean, he's not a tank, but that Nature's Grasp even just takes out like an eighth of everybody's health. And that curtain call takes Skuro and Lonely completely out of this fight. Mid tower, goes down. Yuri playing defense. Just feels like death by 1,000 cuts at this point for Kabum. It's an if, not a when. Or a when, not an if. There we go. For Los Grandes. They're playing this out really, really methodically. But still, not taking anything too risky.
Yeah, it's just so cold and calculated. It's awesome to see on the CBLOL stage, to be honest with you. And when we go back to the Kabum composition one more time, when you're a team that doesn't have a true frontline tank, and you have to go up against those sped up Jace Qs, curtain calls from Natuno, Zay over top with a lot of those missiles, it's nearly impossible to try to do anything. You can see there they were forced off their turret. The curtain call and the Jace Qs forced them even behind their inhibitor when they had their top inhib turret. Like, that's how deadly this ranged comp can do against what Kabum have drafted.
It's just too easy, right? I mean, you got Scary playing frontline, just trying to shield Skuro from literally anything, whether it's the shock blast from lava or the curtain calls or, like you said, Zay with the turrets. Skuro has, it's just so rough for him, right? But this is the risk that you run with these kinds of supports. And Heimerdinger runs a similar risk, but Heimerdinger has just so much more in his kit. He's got CC, he's got more range, and MF just in a really, really tough spot right now. We want to talk about how Duds has suffered because of the way the lane went. Man, Skuro, I think, is paying the ultimate price here.
And here comes the Hail Mary play. Now, Kabum have to find some sort of fight or the game ends here.
And Los Grandes actually not able to capitalize maybe how they wanted, but they do take Lonely pretty much out of this fight. And here it on the other side, just face tanking the tower. Here we go. It's a 4v4. There goes the ultimate. Marlo has that healer reduction now for Ranger, but Yuri going forward. Can they take down the Drain tank? They did get Jin. Lonely and Hira doing battle on the bottom side. The advance is neutralized here, but now Duds with that extra kill, feeling a little more important here. Skuro actually getting on the board here. I think he heard me talking some smack and said, watch how useful I can be, Mr. 4x4. Yuri is low, Scary is even lower, but most importantly, they have, in fact, like you said, Slayer, held off that play.
It's all that is what happens if Los Grandes don't play with Hira in fights, because Ranger is 3 AP centric items, maybe like a half tank item with Demonic Embrace in. He cannot frontline. Once he lets out Nature's Grasp, he becomes a lot less useful in those fights. Maybe sure he can get one knockback, he can jump onto one target, but he's jumping into a team that will blow him up instantly. So he can't frontline, and that gives enough avenues for Scary to finally get a good ult here. He flashes on to Netuno, gets the Cyclone knockup. Sure, the stopwatch will buy some time, but they finally get on top of that Fed Jin, and Yuri's soaking up so much HP, creating so much distance with that Demonic Ascension. You can see here just Ranger. I mean, he gets pulled in once, and he's absolutely eviscerated. Yeah. He's not a tank in this composition. It's Hirit that is, and if they don't have him in fights, Kabum, they have a way to win.
Hirit is on 4 items. The Hull Breaker, and then the 2 pure tank items. And with that window, I thought objective control was a foregone conclusion for Los Grandes. And to be fair, it still may be. They've just traded one for another. But Kabum have that extra damage, not only the extra dragon, but the extra soul now. Infernal coming in on top. Look, they're still down 10,000 gold. They're still down 8 towers to 0. They're down pretty much an item across the board. But it's 36, 37 minutes in, Slayer, and Kabum, like the last stand at the Alamo, they are not going quietly into that good night. They've survived one Baron push. Can they make it 2?
I think in solo queue, 90% of the time you let triple inhibs go down, you lose the game, and I'm assuming that number is even worse percentage-wise for pro-level League of Legends. So they're about to knock down triple inhibs here for Los Grandes, but they need to do a bit of a switch up here in this play. He's done his job. I mean, salute to you, sir. The split pushing has done wonders, but now there's nothing to split push. You have to fight with your team and shut Kabum down before they can find any more avenue back.
Every ultimate is up except for the bullet time from Skuro, but ding, 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 back online here. So they're fighting with all their tools, but just 1 tower to go. Yeah, here it's not maybe not split pushing in the traditional sense, but he's still making his presence felt. Los Grandes just looking for that perfect engage. And Kabum returning fire actually pretty decently. Skuro maybe in trouble. He does have his summoner heal still, and he's got the healing and shielding from Lonely. Lava now in some trouble here. He's got the Guardian Angel. Scary, potentially a little too far forward. He was able to jump on Netuno in that last fight. He's going to need a similar sort of pick to dissuade the loss here from Los Grandes. Here they come with the Baron up minions. Looking back into the fountain to try to get a little more healing. There goes the Nature's Grasp. Scary is low. He's trying to jump onto somebody. He's able to get Ranger out of the fight, but he will pay for it with his life. There goes the curtain call. Yuri's into the front line. Lava doesn't have to use the Guardian Angel. He survives it. He goes into the back line, knowing that he has that extra life. Looking like GG, just crossing some T's and dotting some I's. It wasn't easy.